Hey, Dustin Tibbetts here, financial advisor with Jazz Wealth Managers. How's it going out there? Hope you're having a good day and you're ready to dig in a little bit here because we're going to use Nest Egg today. It's a financial planning software that we use. If you want to look it up, it's called Right Capital. They just let us put our name on it. We call it Nest Egg because I thought that sounds cooler, right? And then we a little egg. Yeah. Right. Anyways, we're going to talk about 4 investment, money, retirement type moves you need to make if you're about to retire, right? A lot of you, I'm surprised how many people are actually starting to retire early, taking the goods out of the market while the getting is good. And we're going to cover some of those. I'm just going to dive right in because I got a lot to share with you here today. And I hope you find it interesting. If so, subscribe button thing, we're supposed to talk about that. Hey, number one, the first thing you're going to do is you likely have a series of investments, 401ks, Roth IRAs, taxable accounts, trading accounts, inherited accounts, things like that over your life. And you want to treat them all as if they're one. See, a lot of people, I should say investment-wise, you want to treat them all as if they're one. Look at all the investments and how they perform together. This is a little harder than it sounds, but let me show you real quick. We'll use Louis Armstrong here. This is a guy, if I go to his profile real quick, he is in our system. He's currently 58. The wife is 57. They want to retire 59 and 60. So it's coming up, right? They're about ready to retire. They've got $4,500 in expenses that they need there. Currently making 110 and 95 each there. They're saving a boat ton to their 401k. They've got all kinds of different accounts, right? And they all have investments inside of them, so we've got to look at them all as a whole. I'm going to go over to the investment tab, and we're just going to see, like, hey, based on where you should be, where are you, right? What's going on here? We've got 35.7% in equities. That's pretty much there. He doesn't need to take any more stock risk. That's good. International, if you like to look at that, he's a little light. Emerging markets, he's basically on par. Real estate's on par. Bonds, whoa, that's pretty high. So we're pretty high in bonds of all kinds, and we're a little light on cash. So if we look down here at the bottom, we can actually see that he could afford to go a little more in stocks, right? Not a big deal. That's close enough, really. But we've got some issues here with bonds. He's not taking enough risk, right? He needs a little bit more growth. So if we look at his plan, we're saying, all right, if we treat all of your accounts, which is what it says there, the same, you're not looking too good, man. You're going to have to take a little bit more growth. Let's say that you go towards the moderate sort of plan that I put together a second ago. How does that improve? You're currently 56% of the way there. It gets a little bit better. We've got some other work to do there. Also, I want to point out something. When you look at your retirement plans here, here's all the different accounts he has. So Roth, 401k, Lucille's got a 401k, old 401k, HSA, and taxable account. As you start looking through some of these, you go, holy cow, man, this is crazy. How am I supposed to put all this together? It's not too hard until you come to target date funds. So here, Lucille in her 401k has got the Fidelity Freedom 2045 fund. This is actually based off a real customer. I just use different names to protect the identities of the innocent. Anyways, if we take a look, not all target date funds are the same. You would think they're the same, but they all have their own personalities. And the Fidelity Freedom Fund ranks as one of the best ones that are available at the moment. And so for Lucille, I say, that's available to you. You ought to work with that. Now, I realize we're going to bump it up a few years. That's because they needed more stock exposure. But take a look at the difference here between these. I've shared this with customers in the past. Here's BlackRock, T. Rowe, American, Vanguard, and Fidelity. If you look at the performance of all of these, that's a 6% difference, almost 6.5% difference between target date funds consistently. It's not that all of a sudden something jumped out of the woodworks there. It's pretty consistent in terms of performance. Up here at the top, you look at annualized returns. I'm going to just go out. I need to go, we got to go further out. Let's look out 10 years here. So we look at a little bit further out. What a difference, right? It doesn't look like a lot when you look at the annualized returns, but we've got gains that are starting to push 40%. Right, so you want to be careful with your target date funds. What do you do about that? If you're reviewing your investments, you're about to retire and you find, oh man, I have target date funds. If you have like a Vanguard target date fund, they always err on the side of caution, right? So they're always a little bit more conservative. You may have to say, well, I'm retiring in 10 years. That'd be the 2030 fund. You may have to go to 2040 or 2045. Right? So consider that. That may be a way for you to take a little bit more risk there. So anyways, just wanted to point that out. It's a bit of a side move there. Let's go back over here. The second thing I want you to think about is your withdrawal strategy. So many times that's where we add value as advisors. The investments are doing great. We're happy with that, and that's what we do. We manage our own investments. But when you get to the point where the growth is not so important because you're retired, now safety and withdrawal strategies are more important, that's something we want to take a look at. Now, I've oversimplified this here. I'm going to go through the distributions and how they take money out of their account. So what we're looking at here is the regular, just taken however you feel, if we just say take it evenly across the board. I don't know why you would do that, but we just say just pick from every account and take a little bit of money there, then that's what you have. But look, if we go taxable, tax-free, then pre-tax, look at how this changes, right? It's $23,000. And remember, we didn't have a lot of extra money to spare. If you go back to the retirement tab here, this couple was only going to add about $25,000 at death. They were barely hanging on to the last bit of their money. So if we end up taking a distribution method or pulling from our accounts in a pretty poor way, you actually end up with nothing. You basically end up with $0. So consider that withdrawal strategy. I'm going to go back over here real quick and put this the same way. I'm going to say, let's pretend we just did that. I don't know. We did that same distribution method. Watch this thing go down. Uh-oh. That's not good. We made it worse by simply pulling money out of an account differently. Oh, we don't want to do that. So in this case, what we would do for them, although we would have a lot to do because this plan needs a lot of work, in this case, what we would do is we would say you have to be strategic about where you're pulling your money out from, right? We don't have a way to say there is a way that you pull money out that somehow you end up with more money. See how in every case we try all the different scenarios. You could start with tax deferred. I mean, it's a $500 difference there, but we're not in good shape. You need to think about how you're taking money out of your account. Now, we could also say, let's do conversions. Can we do conversions of any kind? 22% tax bracket? No. Side topic, that's a different video, but sometimes modeling conversions, I bet you if I go down here a notch, that adds a little bit more money. If you do a conversion up to the 12% tax bracket, it's a little bit. We're pinching pennies here, but hey, these guys seem to need it. And so there's lots of little things you could do with how you take your money in retirement. Kids, if you're watching, that's great. The stocks that are growing, and yeah, GameStop. Yeah, all right, I get it. But that end goal is also important. How do you take your money out? If you take from here and here, do you pay less taxes versus taking from here and here, right? It's a little overwhelming, I guess, if you think about it. But that's what I wanted to show you there. Third thing, would you focus on dividend stocks in retirement? I have a feeling that the 20 and 30-somethings right now will get to retirement and go, I'm going to live off dividends. It's going to be great. I'm going to buy all these stocks. They're going to pay me passive income. That seems to be a key word there on old TikTok or whatever. But if you're going to do that, are you looking at qualified dividends, non-qualified dividends? Which accounts are you holding them in? And so I want you to think about that. Dividend stocks or high-yielding stocks are, of course, attractive, right? But when you do that, are you going to just focus on wherever you're getting the highest yield? What happens if that's all in oil? Are you going to skip REITs? Are you going to skip maybe financials or whatever? The tide changes with time, so how will you adjust to that? I want you to think about that one there. And finally, when are you going to take Social Security? Again, I'm going to oversimplify this here, but if we go into their profile, we're looking at income just currently estimated, right? So I didn't do anything fancy here. So let's play around with this a little bit. When are you going to take Social Security? Let's put this back to normal, and let's pretend that we don't have any other options. This is where they land, and we've got to talk about Social Security. Currently, it's being estimated. They take it at 67 and 64. Is there any change between that and optimal? The optimal strategy is, of course, to wait as long as possible, and they may have to do that. No, they actually don't want to do that. They're going to spend all their money as the time they get to Social Security, so that's not good there. They'll end up with more dollars because they're going to have Social Security when their expenses are lower, but no, that's not it. What about if we take it as early as possible and we stop dwindling down our retirement accounts so quick because we've got very little to spare? Nope, that doesn't work either. The difference between what you get paid now versus would have got paid in the future doesn't work. Again, this is oversimplified for the sake of this video here, so just keep that in mind. The retirement age, full retirement age, is not going to be much different there. There's really not a lot we could do here for them. We'd have to do something a little bit more custom to try to get this dialed in because see how it's not looking good there. So I want you to know when to take Social Security. Because you see what we just did. Every scenario we chose hurt them, almost. Hurt them. So what if you just blindly do it, right? And you didn't know that your plan is being hurt, right? I know financial planning gets a little bit boring sometimes, but when you see the numbers moving around, how do you not get excited by that? Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But anyways, I hope that helps. Number one, I want you to review all your retirement investments as if they're one. Don't review your accounts as if they're one. Take all the investments in the accounts and say, well, I've got a lot of stocks. I've got a lot of bonds. I need to make an adjustment there. Number two, withdrawal strategy. If you're about to retire, we're not currently taking customers, but maybe we should talk, right? That is so huge. A lot of times you can add 5, 10% just right there off withdrawing correctly so you pay less taxes. That's with the Trump tax credits assuming to expire, a Trump tax break there. Number three, you're going to use dividend stocks. How are you going to go about that? What's your approach as you go through that? What happens if you rely on oil and all of a sudden they stop paying dividends? We saw that. Where are you going to go? How are you going to use that to rely on your income in retirement? And number four, when are you going to take Social Security? There's a lot of great free resources out there. You don't have to come to Jazz for that, but that's an important one. You want to look at that one for sure, especially if you're about to retire. If you're about to retire, that means you have nothing else to do but hit the subscribe button because that helps us out a lot. We're almost to 100,000 subscribers, and well, that would be fun. So I hope you'll hit that subscribe button, and I appreciate you watching. Have a great rest of your day.